Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Last Year, the #1 most out-of-date podcast in the world. I'm your host, Bennett Hart, and today we have a very special guest, my mom. So, I know that you had a bit of a talk show of your own at some point.
I did.
When you were a kid.
Yeah.
Could you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, when I was really little, still living in Scarsdale. I lived at 20 Oak Lane, and I think it was there that my brother Dan and I think it was with him, we did a talk show, it was the Debbie Gray Show, and it was on a cassette, and I was the interviewer, and he played all these different famous basketball players at the time.
Yes.
So he pretended he was like Walt Frazier from the Knicks and a guy named Dave DeBusschere. And so I'd ask questions and he'd answer and try to change his voice a little depending on who he was.
Yeah.
And we would do commercials and stuff. And also I did an opening, like I had music to open up the show. And it was a xylophone. It was like dun, dun, dun. It was a xylophone I had from my elementary school, which was called Fox Meadow in Scarsdale.
And there's you guys would just do that in one take? No.
I don't feel like I did it more than, I was so young. So I lived in that house from like second grade to the beginning of fifth grade.
Okay.
So those were the years I was there. So I was young.
Yeah.
Like maybe 11, 10, 9 or 10, 9, 8 or something like that.
Okay.
Because I was always on the younger side.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, it was a lot. I enjoyed it, and we had one really funny commercial I remember for like noise pollution, and basically like a public service announcement that noise pollution is real. And so there was we were trying to make a lot of noise in the background and trying to stop noise pollution.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely want to see that, if you're able to find it anywhere.
Yeah, it would just be obviously cassette, it would just be audio.
Yeah.
And if I do find it, I need to try to remember to do that. I'm just afraid that the tape would disintegrate.
Yeah.
So.
I think it's so cool though, I had no idea that you guys did that before I started doing this show.
Yeah.
And for one, it's funny to see the parallels.
Yeah.
But also it's fun to just learn about you, and
yeah.
I probably wouldn't have learned this otherwise.
Yeah.
Similar to on the last episode we had Uncle Steve, and he was talking about Studio 54.
Yeah.
And he didn't say this on the podcast, but afterwards he mentioned that you went with him one time.
I did.
And the only thing he told me was that you ended up crying, but I was thinking you're probably very young.
Yeah, I don't remember the crying part, but I'm sure he's right. But I was probably 13, 14, something like 12, 13, 14 in there. And it was totally inappropriate for me to go there. And probably, I bet if I did cry, it was because I was feeling overwhelmed and scared to be there.
That makes total sense.
Yeah. I remember trying to have fun, but yeah.
Yeah, I remember one detail he mentioned is that at 12 or 2 or something, or 3 a.m., a bunch of white stuff would rain down that was supposed to symbolize
Oh,
cocaine.
God.
So I could just imagine.
Yeah, that I don't remember, but I do know he used to go a lot. It was very popular, and he was, in his early 20s, so
yeah.
It was really fun for him. He was probably, in business school, I bet, or right around that time.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was wondering, do you have any stories or something you think you haven't maybe shared with me before? I don't know if anything comes to mind.
Is there a particular topic?
Yeah.
Because I'm sure there are many things I haven't shared with you.
Yeah, that's very true. I don't know, maybe something with your brothers, maybe a favorite memory or something.
Yeah. Again, with my brother Dan, interestingly, he was super athletic, very athletic and extremely talented artist, painting, and also a talented musician. So he was he was just had all of that, and so he was very, he just always had a lot going on. And so he'd always want to be in shape, and so he and my brother Mike would play sports with me, but I mostly remember it with Dan, and he one time I remember in the backyard, same house, 20 Oak Lane, we had this huge backyard, or it felt huge to me, but I'm sure it was because Scarsdale is very nice, as you saw. He had me on, we had gotten snow, and he put me on a sled and did laps around the backyard pulling me.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like a car.
Yeah, I just, and then also, like, he never took it easy on me when we played basketball, because we had a driveway that went from the street up in front of the house and then around to the back of the house where the garage was. And so back there we had like a basketball thing, and we also had one in Martha's Vineyard. So he would, I felt like he wouldn't take it easy on me,
Yeah.
you know, and so that made me a better athlete.
That's great.
And also, like, we'd play baseball in the backyard and set up a chair in the back to be the catcher. So
That's smart.
if there was just the two of us.
Yeah.
So yeah, I have a lot of memories like that.
I
Yeah,
think, was it him that would like curl you?
Yeah.
I remember
Yep.
you telling me that.
But he would pick,
So
he'd
funny.
tell me to get really stiff and have my elbows, and he would lift me up by my elbows.
Wow.
So, but I had to also, I couldn't be all, I had to,
Yeah.
you
To
know.
hold it together.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And he was just super talented, like musically. And I remember he painted like the cover of a Marvin Gaye album, a famous one. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I was also thinking about when we talked a bit about Studio 54.
Yeah.
Like you were talking to me about how much you feel like New York City has changed, but also the world as a whole.
Yes.
And like, I guess I was interested in what you think's changed the most. Like, would that be like, I don't know, just the independence with like people having cell phones, and because I know you're talking about.
Yeah. I think like just in general how the world has changed.
Yeah.
It's just gotten so much smaller. Because I mean, it's obvious, not like I came up with this, but like we have automatic access to everything and everyone all the time.
Yeah.
And that is a huge, huge difference.
Yeah.
And yeah, there was a lot more independence as a kid because there's just no way for anybody to track you. I mean, it was just, there was a certain level of trust, like you're going to go from here to there and you're going to make it, you know, because that's just, you have to. And yeah, even in Scarsdale, I would ride my bike to school. I mean, again, I was only there from that one house from second grade to fifth grade. So, I mean, it's just, you just did more on your own. And then when we moved to the city too, you had to like learn how to use a bus and the subway, and it was just normal for kids to get around that way. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, the world has gotten smaller and New York has gotten less gritty. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And I know like pretty much everything we've mentioned, like we already talked about at the Frontier. But but again, like I just want to bring up, like I wonder, what's gonna change in the future.
Yeah.
And I've always been interested in that, like, because it seems like it's always some unforeseen thing that's like totally life changing, and like, yeah, it's kind of exciting to think about like what that'll be, or you know, like how seatbelts used to not be like required, like that type of thing, like. You know, and I'm sure it's going to be something with our phones or social media.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, like you guys were destroying your brains. Like,
Oh, yeah, no doubt. Well, it's interesting. I was just talking to Amy recently about, I was reading, and since she works in a school, it validated, like, for example, now Bosque has for middle school, the kids have to all turn in their phones in the beginning of the day.
Wow.
And they're actually not allowed to even carry them around
cool.
in the middle school.
Yeah.
And I think that's great because when Amelia started in middle school there, it was just the beginning of like cell phones, and it caused some significant problems. And so apparently Amy said that a lot of schools do that now, not here in Albuquerque necessarily, but other schools do that too, where you don't just turn them off and put it in your backpack. You actually, at least for middle school.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I think I would like that. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure at the time the kids aren't happy about it, but I feel like it's probably good to not become so attached to it.
Yeah, I told Amy that I bet the parents are like thrilled.
Yeah.
Because then their kids can just socialize with each other and go to school.
Yeah. That's what they're there for.
That's right.
Yeah. Yeah, for me, like, I think they it kind of depended on the teacher. Like there might be a teacher that collects the phones, but for the most part, you could just leave it in your pocket as long as you're not taking it out.
Yeah.
Which I guess in a way, like it kind of built our, like, we had to be responsible for that, but not all of us followed that.
Yeah, so. That's the thing. I think it's a lot to expect from very young people, to not in between classes or run to the bathroom or, you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, and they're not allowed to wear the Apple Watch thing or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good because it's
same
thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, school is probably something, that's something that I think and I hope will change a lot, like, because, like, like, education is so important in so many ways, and, like, I think that it'd be awesome if like, more, like, life skill stuff is, like, integrated into a lot of schools.
Yeah.
Because, I don't know, that's, like, kind of the whole point, like, you're supposed to learn to be able to, like, live and stuff.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of schools do a really good job, but I think we're, like, not quite there yet.
It is really hard. I mean, I've heard that feedback before about, like, they should teach like basic financial literacy.
Yeah.
That would be a good one before you graduate high school. And probably, I bet you in the public schools, they probably offer more of that.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
At the same time, there's other skills that you were able to develop. So I agree, though, that stuff's hard. You kind of have to, like, figure it out on your own. It always feels like.
Yeah.
For me, too.
Yeah. But, like, I don't see why it needs to be like that.
I agree. I think you're right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I don't know what changes the future will hold. I totally agree. It's like, it's exciting because we may think we know what direction something is going in, but like I've told you before, like my dad, who died in 85. He died in 1985, so it was my junior year of college. Mm-hmm. Was about to start, and I mean, he would have never been able to have foreseen that we all walk around with computers that are also phones. Just in that one cycle of parent-child.
Yes. Yeah, I heard this stat one time. I don't know if this is true, but that over the course of human history, our knowledge has, like, been rising at, like, a somewhat, like, linear pace, but I think recently it suddenly, like, became exponential, and apparently as of a few years ago we were doubling our entire knowledge every day or something crazy, and I, like, a large part of me does not believe that because that is ridiculous.
Yeah.
How do you even measure that?
Yeah.
But, like, I think we're definitely learning a lot, especially with AI and stuff, like, mm-hmm. being able to, like, just, like, learn on its own, and, like, I don't know. I mean, in a way, I guess also as the population grows, like, as a collective, we're probably learning a lot. Mm-hmm. Like, each person's learning the basics.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, it's almost, to me, on the other hand, it's almost like just overload. It's like, it's okay. Like, it's okay that I can't right now figure out what the answer to what, like, that's why I still have not gone back on the only social media I've ever done, which is Instagram. Uh-huh. I haven't been on that since, like, a week before the election, so the end of October, I think.
Wow. And how has that been?
Excellent.
Yeah.
It's really been good for my mental health and my emotional health, and I can still educate myself about certain things, but I don't need to be addicted to constantly getting a feed of information about it, or being, fed that. And instead, I can go, when I'm ready, I go look at some news and then step back, because my new thing is trying to live in the present. It feels a lot better if I can just stay present.
Yeah, which I guess it's kind of funny. This podcast is, like, the total opposite of that. But yeah, I totally get that, and I would agree, like, because so much social media, it's, like, just stuff coming at you, and, like, you don't really have a say what you're getting. So I think that's pretty, like, important and, like, powerful to be able to choose to an extent. Like, I do think, like, like, I don't think you should totally have, like, I'm only gonna listen to this and whatever, but I think it's good to like take care of yourself.
Yeah, it was too much for me, and I was really, as you know, getting into all the Israel stuff and Jewish stuff, and it just wasn't good for me. And because I was in a job too at the time where I really didn't have much to do, I was filling up a lot of time with that instead of filling up time with like going on a walk or looking in the garden or drawing something or listening to music or just to be more present instead of lost in some rabbit hole.
Yeah, I've thought about like quitting social media or just one idea I had is for Instagram, for example, I could just delete it for like 90% of the year, and then for 10%, if I have stuff I want to post, and that's just when I post it all, and like can get caught up if I want. I'm pretty good with TikTok. I've pretty much stopped using that, which I feel like to me that's much more like intrusive.
That's what I've heard.
Yeah, and YouTube, YouTube I like because it's much more of like what you're looking for, and you get to decide what you watch. It doesn't just start playing something for you.
Yeah.
And there's a little more thought that goes into everything, and it's just all more substantial.
Yeah, and like you said, that you have the more. Well, you always have the choice, but it's not coming at you. It's really weird, too, because when Amy and I were just in Las Vegas, there was a lot of signs up for different performers. And
Sorry.
That's fine. And Amy said something like, oh, yeah, that person's a very famous, like, a burlesque person. Like, so old time, it was like a stripper, but I don't know that they actually strip. It's burlesque, and she's probably like my age now or something.
Okay.
But we were walking, and Amy said, "Oh yeah, you know, it's sort of like the traditional classic, something like a woman in a martini glass or something like that." And but that evening, what pops up on our phones is a picture of that woman in a martini glass.
Really?
Yes,
Wow.
because that's, I guess, the classic. Like we hadn't actually seen that up. But she said that, and then it came up. Something happened today, too, with me with that, too. I really don't like that. So sometimes I put my phone in the drawer.
Yeah. Yeah, I know she really wants in here. I think she really likes you. Like, she's not usually this like,
really?
She's
going to come attack.
Yeah. I was about to say I could let her in, but maybe not yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, the way that our phones listen to us is ridiculous. Like, to me, it has reached the point of, this is really weird because, like, yeah, I'd be, honestly, it's a big invasion. It feels like an invasion of privacy for them to be listening, but to me, it has crossed the border because it's not just what I say, it's what I think. I'm not kidding, like, multiple times, I have not said a word about a certain thing. I've not texted somebody about it. I've not been looking it up. I've not, like, told anybody, said it out loud to myself, and then I get an ad. This just happened, like, a few days ago. I was in my head, I was just thinking like, oh, like maybe I should get an ice bath. Like, I think that'd be really nice to start doing every day. Like, but I was thinking I should do some research. Like, is this really good for me and whatever? And then immediately after on Instagram, I got an ad for like a portable ice bath.
Before you even started researching it.
Yep.
Yeah, there's something not right.
Yeah.
I agree.
And like, it could be, it's just my phone knows me so well that maybe some other context like led both of us to the same conclusion.
Yeah.
But I remember thinking like, wow, that is a big leap from the one thing that made me think of this, then this, then this, then the ice bath.
Yeah.
Like, that's crazy.
Yeah, that is really weird.
Yeah.
Like I said, when that night, I think when we got back to the hotel, that's when I was like, give me your phone. I put both of our phones like in the drawer and put clothes on top of them and shut the drawer.
That's cool.
Just like, don't listen to us, please.
Yeah. Yeah, and then like, I'm always like, you know, I have 4 cameras on my phone.
Oh.
I have like LiDAR or whatever it is.
What's that?
I think that's the one that, it's kind of like sonar, but I think it's the one for your Face ID. I could be wrong about that.
So what does that do? Like, what do you mean?
It'll like scan my face to open my phone.
Oh.
That type, or if you have your Memoji, you can like track it to your face, that type of thing.
I must have that too.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how I unlock mine, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really weird now at the airports too. Again, it happened again when we went to Las Vegas. Just like, I think it actually might have even been in Albuquerque before
really?
when we went through security. It's like, look in here. Okay, you're you.
Yeah.
That's really weird.
Yeah, that is pretty weird.
Yeah, I know, because I do like the anonymity. So, yeah, it's weird.
Yeah. And we also had, when Uncle Steve was here, somehow we mentioned the guy that plays James Bond recently.
Is it Daniel
Craig?
Is that his name? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure we mentioned him in some sort of, like, we're talking about alcohol or something, and then a picture of him, like, promoting his alcohol popped up or something like that.
Yeah. It's very weird.
Yeah. I think, Kyle's, like, really good at keeping distance from his phone. Like,
yeah.
I don't think he even sleeps with it in his room, which I think is pretty cool.
Yeah. He's gotten more into it, but, he's a little bit older now, so it seems like it's not as addicting or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, he's not as attached to it as most of us are,
which I think is super cool and unique, like, nowadays. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I went, like, one day without my phone kind of recently, and that was, like, a fun experience, but it's just a day.
Yeah.
It's funny that that's, like, considered a challenge.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Let's see. I think I wrote down some other stuff. Oh yeah. Well, I just wrote this down, but we're going to see Wicked on Sunday, I think.
We haven't gotten the tickets yet.
Okay.
We're waiting to see how you feel and how Amelia feels. So are you feeling up to it?
I am.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just talked to Amy about it today, and we were like, we weren't sure how everybody's feeling. So yes.
Yeah, I've been feeling pretty good.
You sound good. So you've been sleeping okay?
2 nights ago, I did not sleep very good, but last night I slept good.
Okay. So the night we met for dinner, you didn't sleep well.
Yes. Yeah. While we were at the restaurant, I, like, had quite a, like I started being perfectly fine, and by the time we left, I was feeling kind of sick.
Yeah.
And I could feel, like, right now it's, like, starting to get to me, but...
You said usually towards the end of the day.
Yeah, which is pretty cool, like, that I have most of the day to be totally fine.
Yeah.
I talked to Amelia on the phone recently, and, yeah, I know that she's, like, not doing the best.
Yeah, although I think today, because yesterday I called her to check in because I hadn't heard from her, which, did I already tell you this?
Maybe not.
I had spoken to her like a couple of days ago, and I was like, okay, well, keep me posted and all of that. And when I didn't hear from her the next day, which was yesterday, I was like, well, maybe she's okay. And she's like, oh, just forgot to let Mom know.
Yeah.
And so I called her last night, though. I just had this urge to call her, and lo and behold, she was not feeling good.
Oh.
But then today, I was going to take her to the... like how we went to that emergency room.
Yeah.
I was going to take her there today. But everything all right?
Was that your phone? I just heard like a but-um.
I don't know.
Probably.
Could be, although I turned it the thing on Do Not Disturb, and I think yours is the only one that comes through because it's the only one I've set that way.
Oh. Sorry to interrupt.
No, it's okay. But then, and so I told her, hey, if you're still feeling yucky today, I can take you in the morning because Elijah had work. So I planned to just come to her house at 9:00 this morning. But long and short of it is she was feeling a little bit better and sort of going to give herself some time. So yeah, I ended up stopping at that Smith's near your old house there near Taj Mahal.
Yeah.
They have a really good Jewish section there. I had no idea. So I was able to pick up some things that she wanted. So,
nice.
Yeah.
Matzo ball soup.
I did. I got some in a jar that's already made.
Oh, cool.
And then I also got a box, and then she wanted those little tea biscuit things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are good.
It was like $1 for each of those, which was a good deal.
Yeah, that's pretty good. So I wrote down a few questions.
Yeah.
They're like pretty broad things, but I'm interested in them.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so one I have, what is one of your favorite things to do right now in general? Like just something you like to do? And how did you find that thing, or how did you start doing it?
Let's see. The first thing that comes to mind is just honestly just being outside. That's just what comes to mind for me. And I found it by when I was born and started going outside. I noticed I really liked it. I mean, like today I spend as much time as I could out in the backyard, like raking and just doing stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then I walked here, which was, I think, about 5 miles. I think.
It's at least 5 miles.
It took me a while, and my feet are killing me. Amy sort of warned me about not wearing the boots that I did wear.
Really? Are they stiff or something?
No, it's just I'm not used to walking that much, and it's like more of a rubbing, just like when your sweaty feet are rubbing, it gets tender, kind of. So, but I'm really glad I did. So that's something I still enjoy doing, and at my job now, like so far, my lunch hours, there's like so many nice places to walk, so I take my time to do that. Do you think she'll attack me if you let her?
I think she might. Like I can hold her so that she doesn't. Is that all right?
Do you want to? Would that be better? Okay.
I think that'd be.
Uh-oh.
She hasn't made an appearance since episode 1, I think.
Okay.
So this is special. Come on, Freaky. Don't jump on her.
Hi.
Good girl.
Oh my God.
Yeah, come up here.
Of course she wants me. That's the way it works.
Yeah.
There you go.
Oh, she's so excited that you're here. I can
So
tell.
funny.
Yeah.
Like, I know that there have been a couple incidents, so that's why I'm.
Oh yeah, she would never.
Hesitant.
The few times it basically.
Was there playing going on, or?
Walking by another dog.
Oh.
And then like for one of the times she had the like choke collar on.
Yeah.
And so I think she felt that was like somebody like biting her or something, and just freaked out in the moment. And that's what it's always been. So.
Hi. Yeah, that's how Oliver was too. It was like he was not aggressive towards people, but he was dog aggressive. So if you happened to be there when he was freaking out, he'd turn and bite. I think he bit me once.
Yikes.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, that's no fun.
Yeah, but yeah. So being outside, I think, is one of my favorite things.
That's cool.
And oops. So you think it's working okay?
Yeah. That's cool though. I like being outside a lot too.
Yeah, and same at that same house, like at 20 Oak Lane, we had like, again, it felt like this huge backyard, and we also had land on the side with this massive like boulder in the ground, a rock, and so you had to like go through some bushes and stuff, and you could climb on this big rock, and my friends and I we'd pretend it was like a ship. So, yeah, and also in the front of that house, I used to climb a tree and just sit there.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely like doing a lot of stuff outside. Let's see if she'll chill out. No. All right, I might throw her out.
Okay.
She just wants to.
Does she just want to sit here? Or?
Maybe, yeah. She definitely won't like attack or bite or anything.
Yeah.
She will probably try to lick a lot.
Hi. I'm a new person, huh? Look at you. I'm a new person.
Yes.
Okay.
All right, that's good.
Yeah.
All right, Fergie.
Sorry, Fergie. That was fun, though. Thank you.
I'm all hairy now.
I know. I'm like, don't let me touch my eyes. Oh. Whatever you do.
If you want, we can pause if you want to wash your hands.
I'm not going out there. No
all
way.
Right. All right, we got it.
So that's something I like to do, and I think it's something I've liked my whole life. And in all the different places I've lived, it used to be a lot of running. I used to run everywhere I lived, or walking.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because I've lived in a few different places, yeah.
Yeah, I definitely have come to like running a lot.
Yeah.
I feel like it's very like meditative.
Yes.
And yeah, it's good. I've been like pretty consistent for a while now.
Really?
Yeah, which has been fun, but for some reason, just like a week ago or so, I kind of just stopped, like, and it was kind of because Uncle was in town, and like I was like, yeah, I could take a break, and then also now that I'm sick, I'm trying to not exert myself too much.
Yeah.
But also, I don't know, like I haven't really noticed much of a decline in my mental.
Okay.
Like, so I don't know.
Well, I think the thing about that's been helpful for me to keep in mind is that, it's like the big picture. Right now, your body doesn't want it, but it's always there in your back pocket if you need it again or you feel like doing it again. And the beauty of running is that you can do it anywhere. You don't need anything, really.
Yeah.
You just need your shoes and clothes or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. And I think I will keep it up.
Yeah.
At least sometimes. Like, yeah. Yeah. I know you also kind of got into swimming for a little bit.
I did.
Are you still, like, interested in doing more of that?
Well, that's a really good example of, like I've gone through periods where I have wanted to do it and I've done it. And last year I did it a lot.
Yeah.
But this year I really don't feel like it. I just don't.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't want to get cold
Same.
in the swimming pool.
Same.
I'll walk to Bennett's house, along disgusting cours.
In the wind.
Yeah, it was actually really nice out.
Really?
I was worried I was going to get too hot, if anything, because
really?
when I started it was still sunny. So I took off my scarf and I tied it to my vest and But I haven't been doing the swimming as much, but it did allow me to have some of that same meditative kind of feeling.
Yeah.
It's, I kind of had to allow myself to feel that because I feel protective of running,
Yeah.
But even like walking can do that. Anything that's sort of like that back and forth kind of.
Yeah. For me, I think I really liked running and specifically running the same route every single day.
Oh.
Because I don't know, maybe I didn't tell you, but I think I'd ran almost every single day since like May or something. So quite a while.
So is it the route from Sean's house?
Yeah, most of that, I ran a lot around there, and there was one route that I started like towards the end of the summer. I think I just started doing every day, and I kept it up. And like, I think I love the idea of like, no matter how I feel, no matter what the weather's like, if it's raining, if it's sunny, if it's cold, if it's hot, I'm going to do this exact route. And it was really fun for me. And it partially, it was just that like mindset made me feel good, but also I could kind of go on autopilot.
Yeah.
And not put any energy into being, oh, do I go this way or this way?
Yeah.
Like, I know my route.
Yeah.
And it's also fun because I can easily see like myself progressing with getting faster.
Yeah.
Plus, I didn't actually like push myself every day to go as hard as I could. I just, whatever felt right is what I'd do. And it was really nice.
Yeah.
So moving here, I started doing the same route every single day, and I kept that up until like a week ago. Which was a little bit longer. And yeah, I think I'll keep doing it, but I don't know, for some reason, I feel like at this exact moment, I don't feel like I need it as much as I did that entire amount of time.
Yeah.
Which is cool, but.
Yeah. I think it's good though to know you have tools.
Yes.
It's just like anything. I mean, sometimes for anything something works and other times not,
Yeah. But running's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
I feel like that'll work always.
Yeah. I feel really lucky that I had so many years of really good running, and I know what you mean about the routes and stuff. I think for me it was more like I had, depending on where I lived, but I had certain routes. Like I had several routes that could be autopilot routes. Do you know what I mean? It didn't always have to be. That's because smart. I had done it so much, and I needed, if I was actually training for something, I needed a certain distance to get in.
Yeah.
So I'd have different routes for different distances.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. When I was training for my marathon, which I'm sure you know, but you were the total inspiration for me to do that. Like, definitely look up to you a lot.
Thank you.
I think it's very cool that
Thank
you've
you.
done so many hard races and stuff. But yeah, I ran around the academy a handful of days because it's one of the longest loops there is here.
Yeah.
And that was not fun. I did
Yeah,
not like that.
I did. So it's funny you brought that up because I was just thinking about it. Because when I was training for a marathon or something, I would go there and I would do it on purpose because it was mentally extremely hard. So I would, when I'd have to go on a long run, like the 20-mile, 6 times around.
Wow.
So I'd go 3 times around one direction and then I'd go 3 times around the other direction.
Wow.
So I'd start out on a Sunday morning in the dark, the pitch dark.
Yeah.
And
That's really cool.
But I'd see people, you know, like sometimes I saw Dr. McGuire, Barb McGuire, the vet.
Oh.
She would run around there, and I'd see other people too training. And I saw that, God, what was her name? Maria, I can't remember now. She ran the marathon for Peru in the Olympics.
Oh, wow.
And I saw her training there. I didn't realize that till I watched the Olympics, that's who that was. And I used to see her running in the foothills too.
Yeah. That's really cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Pretty neat.
Yeah, so that's a really good, it's dirt, it's hilly, and it's no shade.
Yes.
So it is definitely challenging.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the most I went around it maybe 3 times.
Oh, okay. It's like 10 miles. It's like 3.3 once around.
Yeah.
I think.
But I did not want to do that again.
Yeah. That's definitely mental torture.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny. I think Sean, because he went on such a small amount of runs to practice for the marathon. But I think one of the times he might have, maybe he didn't do academy, but he did the golf course a few times. And that one I also didn't love, but just because it was, for me, it's just like, geez, I'm about to run this massive distance. Like, and also the first time I went there, it was very dark and I had no map or anything.
At the golf course? You mean the one right by the law school there?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like 2 miles.
Yeah. It was very confusing for me at like pitch black. And so the first time that I went back there, once there was light, I realized that I had like, I forget if I cut through like some part of the loop or I actually added on a big section or something. Because like I couldn't see the path.
Yeah, that would be really hard if you're not already familiar with it.
Yeah,
that would be really hard.
I didn't know if I was allowed to park there, like if I was gonna get the ticket.
Yeah, I used to do a lot of running there too, but
it's nicer for sure.
Yeah, it's got shade, hills, dirt.
Oh yeah, I did not like the hill.
Oh.
There's one really big hill, and
I used to when we lived on Princeton. Before you were born, I used to put Amelia in the baby jogger and run to the golf course, but I didn't go on the dirt with her. But there's that bike path along there, and then there's the road. There's just road also. There's a bike path along part of it along University kind of.
Yeah.
But then there's just road. So the most I ever ran with her was 10 miles.
Wow.
I ran to the golf course and 3 times around this larger loop because I had to stay on the concrete and the road and then back home.
Wow.
So that was a good place to add miles. And mentally during one of the marathons where I was like having a breakdown, I remember thinking to myself, okay, all you have left is 3 times around the golf course, you know, in my marathon. I'm like, I can do that.
Yeah, that's smart. That's cool. Sorry about her.
It's all right. Yeah, it's fine.
It's kind of sad.
Yeah.
I was wondering, like, for your marathons, did you walk like at any point? Wow.
No.
That's so
that
cool.
was a hard no for me.
That's so cool. I mean, I went into mine with that and it fell through right at the end.
Yeah, but you really did the minimal amount of training, really.
Yeah.
I mean, I had trained for months and I was extremely
disciplined,
consistent with it. Yeah. I mean, I was like insane. Yeah. And yeah, I mean, it helped me too because I think the first one I did, I was in law school. And so it was really helpful because it was very stressful. There was a lot going on in my mind.
Yeah.
And I was in Boston, and I could run along the river.
Yeah.
And you could cut across different bridges to make a different size loop. So that was really nice.
Yeah.
And then I moved out to Gallup, and I was training out there at like 6,600 feet. I was coming from sea level. One time I got very sick on one of my long runs out there. Jeez. I wasn't prepared.
Yeah.
I was not adequately prepared for the altitude, yeah.
Yeah.
And the hills out there too, yeah.
Yeah. It makes a really big difference.
Yeah, I was just like, no, I'm not stopping. Only one time did I actually hit that wall, and it impacted me where I was like dying. I was like shuffling. I don't think I walked. I was like shuffling, just cool. Keep going.
That's awesome.
Dying, yeah.
I really want to run a marathon and not walk at all.
Yeah, you can definitely. Yeah. There's no doubt you can do it.
I was literally in the last, I think, 0.2 miles or something. It was less than a mile. For sure.
Okay. Well, yeah, for all intents and purposes, you.
Yeah, but for me, it's like I can't really say it. Okay. Let's see. I don't know exactly how long we've been going, but do you care? Are you getting... You're good?
I'm good.
Okay. So a few other questions. Okay. This is just interesting. What is something you think that you could talk about forever or for a really long time?
Oh, well, I know for sure it used to be running.
Yeah.
I could definitely talk about that and all the things around it. Politics, even though now it really stresses me out, I'm fascinated just by it. I don't know. You'd probably know better than I do what I could talk about forever. It seems like the running, politics.
I like the question because, like, I kind of wish over the years I'd, like, written down these, like, topics that I'm really interested in.
Yeah.
But recently I rediscovered that, like, aliens are something that I'm just so fascinated by. And there's this docu-series on Netflix by, what's his name, like George Knapp or something? Ryan Knapp, George. Either George or Ryan.
Ryan Knapp was a teacher at Boston.
I think it's George.
Maybe that's his new career. I don't know. It could be.
Yeah, he looks a little different. But it's really good. It's just so fascinating. And I guess, I was also wondering, like, do you believe in aliens?
Yeah, although I don't think I'd call that alien. I mean, I believe that there's a possibility of, to think that we're the only, like, thinking, conscious kind of, I don't know, it seems kind of like, what's the word I learned in Riverdale? Hubris, like human pride, like, it seems kind of, I don't know.
Yeah, I think I know, like, is it almost like, oh, we're so, like, I don't know.
Yeah, it's exactly that. It's like human pride, hubris, like we're the center of everything and we can't imagine. So, but that's on Netflix, you said?
Yeah, it's called Investigation Alien, I'm pretty sure.
Okay, so it's like different, like each episode is like a different incident or different...
Kind of. It's like, it's this one guy, George Knapp, I think, and he just leads you through a ton of stuff, ton of digging around that he's done, and I'd say the first few episodes are very convincing. Like, he does a great job compiling all the information we have, lots of first-hand accounts across various things, different people all over the world. I'd say the last episode I watched, like episode 3 or 4 or something, was a little bit like, but honestly, it was still really good. So I'd recommend.
You should go back down to Roswell.
Yeah, definitely. That'd be cool.
Yeah, I definitely, because it sounds like from what I've read as well, like there have been a lot of pilots, like for the Air Force or Navy or the Army or even, other pilots who have seen like unidentified flying objects.
Yeah, and they changed the like acronym.
Yeah, what is it now?
They changed it to UAP, which at first meant unidentified aerial phenomena, but suddenly they're not just aerial, they're also going underwater and stuff. So now it's unidentified anomalous phenomena.
Oh, okay.
So UAP.
I think that's going to be really hard for people to. I mean, everybody's like UFO.
Kind of, but a lot of
you
people.
You think people are kind of okay? Yeah. I'm just way behind.
Because there were like some of the congressional hearings or whatever, and they're all referring to it as UAP.
Okay.
But yeah, there's a lot of footage that like the Pentagon released, I think, that was like from fighter pilots or pilots. Yeah.
Do you need to let her in or let her do something?
Yes.
I love that thing. That's great.
The head?
Yes.
Thank you.
Where did you find that?
It's funny. Somebody asked me that recently. At like Kmart, I think.
Like you got it new?
Yeah. Me and Josh.
That must have been a long time ago.
Yeah, we got those when I was in like 7th grade or something. I got that, and he got a tiger or something.
I don't think I've ever seen it before.
we hung them up in our room, and I think after moving out of there, just never put it back up anymore.
I love it. Is that Mr. Kung Fu Panda?
It's not Poe, but I like pandas.
Yeah.
What can I say?
So I think that's neat. Maybe I'll watch that show. So yeah, I believe in the possibility of I mean, who am I to say?
Yeah.
I don't know what I can't sense or feel or see, you know what I mean? Like we don't know what senses we don't have either.
Yeah. So much unknown. Yeah. I definitely believe in them. And okay, so because there's a lot of evidence, it seems, that's pointing to the fact that they're definitely, like, aliens are here and they're doing stuff and people are interacting with them and stuff. Like, so let's say they are, like, what does that even mean? like, do you think we do anything? Like, is something gonna happen? Like, does it make, because to me, it makes me feel kind of good and optimistic because it's like, they seem, if this is real, like, they seem very, like, capable and smart, and like they probably could share some like really wise stuff with us about the universe and life, like so it excites me and comforts me.
Yeah.
I
feel like I recently saw something where these two guys who were like the last people in the world that you would think would come forward and say they were basically abducted.
Wow.
Where was that? It was like really recently, and they each independently basically told the same story from their different perspectives. So it sort of corroborated what they were saying because they each told the same story. But like if you and I were somewhere, you'd tell it from your perspective, and I'd tell it. But we were talking about the same events.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was like they did something where they couldn't move, and they like. I don't know, examine them like as quickly as these people came or whatever they were. I don't terrestrials. They were gone. It was just like happened really fast, and they completely lost track of time of how long they were gone and where they were. And
wow, it's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
And I guess you're right. Like it might not even be, because I think alien is just like extraterrestrial.
Yeah.
But like they could be on our planet. They could be in the water. They could be us in the future. They could be some other thing we don't even understand in another dimension.
That's right. They could be right here in the room and we wouldn't even know.
Yes. Exactly. Hi.
They could look like pandas or like these guys here.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, I don't know. That's just a topic that I think is really cool.
Yeah, I agree.
And I think I kind of wish that now I could start writing down a list of like things that I think are super fascinating.
Yeah. Yep.
If it doesn't just stay naturally.
Yeah.
Okay, this is another random question. So I kind of wanted to start asking like everybody on the show this question.
Yeah.
But pretty soon after I started thinking about it, I was like, you know what? Like, I don't even care. And I don't think it's a good thing to care about. But I still am kind of interested.
Okay, so, I can't wait to hear that. Anticipation's killing me.
If somebody could do something that would make you respect them, like you're like, okay, I have to respect that. Like, what would that be? And it could be as broad or as specific as you want. Like, if you need an example, I could give you one.
Well, I mean, like, I always respect people who tell the truth.
Cool.
And are able to speak up about things even when it's uncomfortable. I really respect that. Yeah.
Yeah. That's cool.
But tell me the example. I'm curious.
That's, well, just everybody's going to have a different answer, I think. Maybe, I don't know, so maybe I will keep asking that question.
Yeah.
But, yeah, like for me, some of the first things that came up were people that try to do something, especially if it's difficult.
Yeah.
And if they succeed, that's pretty cool too, but just trying is more important. Or, what else did I have? That was one of the first things that came up for me.
I totally agree I feel the same way. That I think that's why I've always whether it's with the running and the sports, but in particular with the running, because when you were little, you don't know, but you met, whoops.
I'm so sorry.
You met Paula Radcliffe. He met Paula Radcliffe, who was a British runner who held the women's world record for the marathon for many years. It finally did fall, but you actually met her because she was, well, you didn't meet her, you saw her. I saw her training in the foothills here in Albuquerque. I'm like, that's Paula Radcliffe. And it was obvious because not only what she looks like, but she had an unusual gait that if you ever watched her on TV running, and she was doing that. So I respect that sort of dedication. And like when I was younger especially, but even now, like when I would go to plays, like excellent plays or musical things, I'd be so moved. Like these people, it's amazing that they don't just have the natural talent. They had to put in a lot of work to get to that. You have to have both things, that sort of discipline and commitment, plus talent for whatever it is. And so I respect that a lot too. Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess I was thinking that I shouldn't care about it because because I was thinking whatever all the answers are, I'm like, okay, that's what I'll strive for and whatever.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I guess I haven't made up my mind, but I don't think that I want to do that.
Yeah.
I don't think that's a great way to live, in my opinion. Because, I don't know, for one, even if, I just don't think you could meet everybody's expectations and, yeah. Yeah,
and plus you have to live for your own, you have to respect yourself.
Yeah, of course. But at the same time, who knows, maybe if I keep asking this question and, it's 1,000 people out of 1,000 people say the same things, then I'm like, okay, it's pretty clear to me, because then it's not, everything that those people say might be just 2 or 3 things that align with what I already thought.
Yeah.
And then it's all right, well then I'll do these specific things. But I don't know, it's nice to not worry about that at all. It's very peaceful and freeing to even to know that and be okay, well, that doesn't mean I'm going to do that.
Right. It doesn't mean it's something you have to do, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the hardest things is being truthful, in the big sense of the word. And that's why I just have a lot of respect for that. And even with artists and musicians and athletes, their truth to their thing, you know what I mean? It's the same idea that they're being truthful to their whatever is driving them.
Yeah.
Because most of those people we're never going to see, we're never going to know who they are, they're not going to win the gold medal, they're not going to hold the world record, but there's people out there that have decided for themselves that they want to live their truth.
Yeah.
Despite, it may not get them outside applause and all of that, but that I respect that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, thank you for answering that.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah. Let's see. Okay. So, yeah, this is something me and Andre started doing, which, Andre couldn't be here today. He's studying for his final, maybe multiple finals. He's a real engineering student.
Yeah. It's a lot of work.
Yeah. But yeah, we started trying to come up with like advice to give people.
Oh.
Like just any real advice. And so, yeah, if you would like, that'd be awesome if you wanted to share any.
Oh, for me to give advice, or you're going to give me advice?
We could both give anybody advice to like anybody watching or each other.
Okay.
I feel like I had like, yeah, okay. I have a question for you that might spark something.
Okay.
Okay, if you could give yourself some advice, let's say like at my age.
Yeah.
Like, what would that be?
Like to the younger Deb?
Yes.
That is so hard.
Yeah,
like there's that expression, why is like youth wasted on the young or something?
Yeah.
Because I feel like there's no shortcuts to being able to gain, I don't know, wisdom's too strong of a word, but you know, there's no substitute for experience. But I think, you know, sort of being maybe more, I don't know, really. It's really hard to say because in the moments I was living through a lot of crazy times.
Yeah.
But in hindsight, you know, it really wasn't that bad. But when I was living through it, it was like different nightmares in my 20s and stuff. But I would just give advice that kind of like the old don't sweat the small stuff, or that there is going to be this always in life, the ups and the downs. It's inevitable. It doesn't matter what you do or don't do. It's got nothing to do with you. It's just life. And so to kind of remember that, things got a lot better for me when I got older and got more perspective. So just to have faith that as you live and experience things, that you get new perspectives. And so I think, I don't know if I'm making any sense, but just to keep in mind that there's more there than what you see sometimes because you don't know. You know, it's like we're talking about with the aliens. Like, there's no way to like jump to a place where okay, now I have that experience and that I don't have to sweat and stress and get nervous and butterflies and all of that. I think just to know that over time things do sort of fall into place, you know, that you just to have faith in yourself, that and in life around you, that even though you don't know what's around the corner or where you're going or what the next thing is, there's something there. You don't know what it's going to be, but just to sort of keep in mind that we never know what's ahead. And so as I look back, all the worry I might have had about the future or any of that, it's wasted energy. And I would say this is a long roundabout way of saying the more we can stay present, the better. And I think I spent a lot of my life not being present because of my own inability to self-soothe, or I was so stressed out, or whatever issues I was having. And so instead of just being present, I'd be all like worked up and anxious, and why? It's a waste of energy. It's not worth it. If you can interrupt that kind of stuff, or to at least know that, okay, incrementally over time, I will have more skills to recognize that, you know what, it's the big picture that matters. These little day-to-day stuff actually, doesn't make or break anything. It's the big picture, just like with exercise. It's the big picture. It's okay, for you or Amelia or me to not every single day be doing a running or going swimming, or it's the big picture. And in our lives, we stay active. So, is that making sense?
Yeah. I think you put that all greatly. Like, I think that's some really good wisdom or experience. And I have a few questions, or just a few things that made me thought of. Okay, for one, to you, what is the big picture?
I just mean your life, and I can only speak for me because I don't know what it's like for you, but it's not like I never worry and get all stressed anymore. You know, it's not like that. But when I was younger, it was really bad, and I would get so like in a little like, I don't know, like tornado or something, that it was hard for me to step back and get a different perspective. Like, okay, yeah, that was really hard. I got my feelings hurt, but it's not the end of the world. You know, my life is not over. I have a whole future ahead of me that I don't even know what it holds. So don't, you know, it's okay to get hurt feelings. It's okay to feel sad. It's okay that you won't be living in that forever. And I think I used to get very like worked up about things and had a hard time sort of being like, when I said big picture, it was like, you know, in 6 months from now, is this really going to be, you know, why did I spend all this energy fretting and about something that 6 months later was like, oh, yeah, I got my feelings hurt and it took time to recover.
All right, this sparked another thing, but I don't know, like, what if it's something where 6 months later, it is like, you know, like
bad still or whatever? Or...
Yeah, or like you've good reason to believe it or something.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
I guess I just mean that
Sorry,
to remember that.
So
no, I guess I just mean that to remember that my life is more than just, you know, the up and down of that particular moment on that particular day, that I have more to me. There is more to me in my life than, you know, what might have happened in Hobbs, New Mexico on 1 week.
Okay.
You know, like, yeah, that sucked, or that was fun, or just like anything. I used to just get very like triggered, kind of. I don't know how to say it. But I mean, there was nothing like wrong or bad. It's nice not living like with all that anxiety.
Yeah.
It's nice not constantly, it's not like I never have it, but it's nice to feel more sort of even.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, 60 years old. Woo! That's right.
Cool. Oh yeah, so then another thing, I'm done pressing that line of stuff.
Okay.
But I'd be interested to talk about it more in the future if you want.
Okay.
But I think the idea of regret is interesting, and like recently I saw a video on YouTube that was like I've seen a lot of things like this where it's like 20 things I regret about doing in my 20s, or you know, and like immediately, I forget if I saw this in the comments and maybe it made me think this, like somebody wrote this, but basically, yeah, if you think about it, let's say the person that made that video, they go back to their 20s and they change those things, they just will have other regrets probably. And so yeah.
I don't have any regrets at all.
Great.
Because everything I've been through is what made me who I am right now.
Yes.
You know, do I wish when I was little, like my mom didn't die? Sure, I wish that, but it's like, that's different. You know what I mean? Like I have no regrets. I mean, I feel like, oh my God, I was such an idiot. I can't believe I did that when I was, you know, 13, or this when I was 19, or something when I was 20, or even, you know, in my 30s or whatever. But I don't ever feel like I regret anything.
I think that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No point, like you said. What's the point?
Yeah. Yeah, totally.
And it totally does make you who you are. If you don't put yourself in situations, or you don't live through challenging situations, then there's, you know, the growth is harder to happen.
Yeah. And yeah, like I agree with this a lot. Like, do you think this applies to anybody? Like, what if somebody, like, you know, did something pretty bad, or went to prison or whatever? Like, I personally 100% like, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying.
Like,
I mean, I did really dumb things when I was little. Like, I could have really hurt somebody, and I'm sure I hurt some people's kids' feelings, but I mean, yeah, glad I didn't. And I'm sure like if somebody did end up like killing somebody or doing something terrible and ended up incarcerated, you know, they may have remorse for it. But again, I don't know, if you don't go through, I'm not saying people should do that. I'm just saying if you don't go through things, then you never come out the other end.
Yeah, I totally agree with that.
Yeah.
I really agree. And I think it's so important to just keep moving.
Yes. Yep. Yeah. Literally and, what's the other word? Metaphorically.
Yes.
Yeah. I totally agree with that.
We move.
Yeah. You got to keep moving, growing. Change is good and healthy, and just it helps you sort of know yourself better too.
Yeah. There might have been one thing that I forgot to mention, but that's awesome.
What was that?
I don't know. Just like one of the things, like you were talking about, like your advice, basically. So I don't know. But I got everything.
Okay.
Besides maybe one thing.
Okay.
Yeah. I think I wrote down like some advice for myself, or from myself.
Oh yeah, your turn.
Okay. Yeah, I just wrote down a few things. I guess a few separate things, but one of them. Oh, I remembered it. I remembered the one thing. Just how you said like there's no shortcut for experience, basically.
Yeah.
And so then I was at first in my head I was like, so would you advise people to experience as many things as possible? But then I was like, I mean, no matter what you experience, you're experiencing the same amount. Just but it's just one of my pieces of advice kind of ties into this. Basically, I said. That if I were to give somebody advice to have a good life, I'd say try a lot of things, ignore all of the noise, be kind, and really enjoy yourself. Be present. Be grateful for anything you can be grateful for.
Love it. It's perfect. Is there more?
I have like two others.
All right.
But, another one, this is just recently was on my mind. I say organize whatever it is that you do. I really recommend that you organize better if you haven't really tried, because like so much of the like making videos and stuff, like I've been so unorganized, like or just a lot of things in my life pretty unorganized. And like recently I just started doing like a calendar, which is kind of nice. I got this app on my phone where it makes it easier for me to, like when I'm making a video, I'm like, all right, for the editing, I need to check off like this.
Oh.
And it makes me feel like I'm making progress as opposed to like getting so overwhelmed.
Yeah.
So organizing has been pretty great.
So smart. Yeah. Very good.
And then the last thing I said, do your best to live your life in a way that aligns with who you want to be and what you want to do. Mm-hmm. It's easier said than done, but it's very doable. Like, just in any given day, we have so many little chances to make a decision to like align ourselves with what we want to be or what we don't want to be. Mm-hmm. And just those little decisions can make a really big difference. And for me, it's made me feel really good when I make those choices.
Yeah.
Like, so yeah.
I love all of that. I totally 100% agree and join you in all of those. I love all of it. And yeah. I think the experience stuff is, to me, it's more connected to what you were saying before, which is to keep moving. Like you don't have to be like, I have to do everything in the world. It's more just like, I feel like how I got to where I am right now was just, it's not like I planned it. Like I was born in White Plains, New York. And I ended up like in Gallup, New Mexico, and Hobbs, New Mexico. I lived in Roswell for a while. I'm in Albuquerque, New Mexico. I went to college in Vermont. I just kept, like, wherever there was something, I was like, that's what I'm doing. I didn't really think, well, what about after that? Where's that going to lead? It just didn't, I wasn't irresponsible. Like, I had a job when I moved out here. I needed to, because I didn't have anybody out here. But, all of my decisions, none of them were like with a really clear end goal. but that's what's made my life so interesting, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm grateful for all of the opportunities I've had, like all the different experiences. I'm really grateful. Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I would second that.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, and like having kids was one of them for me. That was another one where I'm like, I definitely want to have children. And I feel so grateful that I was able to have you and Amelia like actually grow you inside of me. I was like,
yeah, that's
you know,
wild.
yeah, it was very wild, you know, and
Yeah.
then to give birth was like, oh my gosh, like, and you know, and mom was there for it. I mean, it's a miracle. It's like truly a miracle, and that is an example of an experience, like where I'm like, no, I want that, you know.
Yeah.
And like you said, some people may choose not to, but I was like, no, I know I want that.
Yeah.
Well,
That's
I don't know what it, you know, I don't know what the end result's going to be, but that's what I want.
Yeah. 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 That was making me think like, I guess, yeah, for me, like trying a lot of things, like I think it's good for like trying different hobbies and like, sports and just like finding what you're really passionate about. Because that's one thing, like, I don't know, for me at this moment, it's hard to say I have no regrets. Like sometimes I'm in that mindset where I'm like, yeah, like everything put me here. And that is true. Like if anything was different, I wouldn't be right here.
Yeah.
But it is easy to look back and be like, I wish I'd done more sports. But yeah, it is kind of pointless. Like,
yeah, I mean, and like the word regret is so intense for me that maybe I would say something like, oh, I wished I had worked harder in high school because I really blew that. That was a great education. I didn't take advantage of it. But do I regret? No. I wished I had applied myself more, but hey, you know, that's the mindset of a teenager. Yeah. It's just where you are.
Yeah, and like, I remember talking to you about this like a few summers ago, like how I was talking to you about at the time I said it was a regret that I hadn't like gone more full in on making videos on social media.
Yeah.
Because at the time I started doing those push-ups every single day.
Yeah.
And I was like, I could have easily done this when I was like 12, like I was going to, and then I let my fear get in the way.
Yeah.
But I remember even at that time I was like, well, like literally when I was 12, there were like literally things that stopped me from doing it. So like, yeah, if I had a little more inner strength, I would have gone through it, but I simply didn't.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, over the next almost 10 years or whatever, I built up whatever I needed to start doing it.
Yeah, taking those risks.
Yeah. And then just one last thing I'll say that, like what you were saying made me think of. I heard this thing that's like, it's something about like just listening to the universe, God, whatever, and like letting that like guide you and direct you, and then you are still the one that needs to paddle. You're the one that needs to like push, but
I like that.
Me too. I like that a lot. Makes me feel good.
I don't want to interrupt you, but I have something to say about that. Yeah, that's like Rabbi Black. I mean, it wasn't like he made it up either, but he gave that story about the guy who wanted to win the lottery so bad, and he was praying to God. I think Rabbi Black said the guy's name was Shlomo or something like that. And Shlomo would be like praying to God, please, God, please let me win the lottery. Please, God, I need the money, and I want to be able to buy this and that. Please, God, let me win the lottery. And God says, Shlomo, do me a favor and buy a ticket. It's the same idea. It's like we can't be passive in our lives, even if we don't know exactly. We can't just be like, oh God, I hope something. You can have all that hope, but you also have to take steps. It may not end where you may end up in a different place, which is what's typically happened than what you thought, but it keeps you moving, and it brings you to the next thing. So you can't be like a passive observer and then expect things to happen.
Yes. Wow.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I really like the whole conversation we just had.
Yeah, me too.
Awesome. I don't think there's anything else that I have for today. Let me just check. I'm still very new at like this podcast thing, and you're only our maybe third guest, I think.
Really?
I think so.
So is Amelia, Uncle, and me?
Yep.
Oh, I'm honored.
Yeah. And then we've had a lot of just ourselves just talking nonsense. But it's fun. It's still fun to
do.
But I think ones like this are really good for us to, push ourselves a little bit.
Yeah.
And learn what it's like to have somebody on and how to talk to them.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you have anything else you want to say, if you want to make any predictions, I don't really like doing that, but or anything you want to say to anybody in the future, feel free.
I predict that Bennett is going to drive me back home after this.
That's a good one.
But hey, I don't know what the future holds, so
that's true.
We might be abducted by some aliens en route.
Yeah, that's true.
No, I've really enjoyed this, and I'm glad you're doing it, and I'm also really glad you invited me. It's really cool.
Yeah, I'm very glad that you joined. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, and I would have brought my xylophone to ding, ding,
it's too
ding.
bad. Yeah, if you ever find those tapes and you want to come back on, that'd be awesome.
I think I can look. I have one place to look, but I just keep forgetting.
Okay.
So I don't know. Maybe you can even send me a text, and that if I keep it new, it will remind me. There's a place in the garage. Unless I can't imagine I would have thrown it out, but I have some old other cassettes too. So we'll see if it's buried in there somewhere.
Yeah. Cool. Well, thank you all for watching. Here is a video that YouTube thinks you'll like, so feel free to click it.